back to our
Welcome
channel. Back. It's so funny. I love how we're barefoot.
Well, it's home, right?
Yes.
I'm Ronnie.
I'm Ashley. And
that's... Welcome back to Honest Tea Talks.
Yes.
I hope you have your cup of tea.
Time. We didn't have tea in our last video.
We hope you've gotten your cup of tea so you can join us in our topic today of cultural superstitions.
Yes, and similarities. Our main focus and goal, because we live together.
Yeah.
And I'm Puerto Rican Dominican, so I come from a certain type of culture and background. And Ronnie comes from a different cultural background.
I'm Indian from Fiji.
Yes. And so it's like we obviously grew up not only in different parts, in different cultures, but in different parts of the United States, like literally
across the country.
Sides from each other. And so it's funny how if I tell her something about what my family's done or does, she's like, no, my family does that too.
It was so funny. She came home with me one Thanksgiving, but my parents were gone, so we were just house sitting. And I literally opened the oven and all the oil that my mom has used from frying pakoras and stuff, which is like a spinach appetizer, is still in the oven. It's a whole pan full of already used oil amongst other things because the oven is storage in our house. And she was like,
I was so excited. When I saw it, I was like, oh my God, we did the same thing. And I was mind blown because you really grow up thinking that it's just your culture that does that. And it's normal, obviously. I know I go to my grandmother's house and if I'm looking for the pans, they're going to be in the oven. So it's like, I knew that. But it's like when I did it in her house, I was like, I'm home,
And you know what's crazy is, even though I know in our own oven we don't put stuff in there, before I use it, I open it to check. It's like habit now. Because I know mom always sticks stuff in the oven, so let me check before I turn it on.
Literally.
And we don't do that here, but I still check before I turn it on.
Yes, because at home, that's literally my grandmother still to this day has them in the oven.
Yeah.
And it was so cool to see that similarity, and so many things have happened.
You know what else used to be storage?
What?
The dishwasher.
Oh, you know what?
And it was full of the Tupperware, all the used margarine containers.
No, this is the same thing. So my grandmother doesn't have a dishwasher, but the family members that do have a dishwasher would wash the dishes and then let them dry there and then use it as storage. So one of my friends actually, so her stepsister was telling me how she went to, I think it was Ohio for school, and she was washing the dishes and putting them in the dishwasher. And they were like, no, you're supposed to put them in the dishwasher to wash them. And she's like, no, honey, we wash the dishes and use it as storage. And they were laughing and stuff because it's interesting. That's literally
what the dishwasher my parents had when we first moved into the house that they live in didn't work. Supposedly. Didn't work. And so it was that was the other thing we were talking about, how old margarine containers and things like that, you're thinking it's butter when you're reaching for it in the fridge, and nope, it's the targari, the curry from the night before.
And then for us it's arroz con gandule. It really just depends. I can literally count with not enough of my fingers and toes how many times I've opened the fridge, got in the butter, opened it to find rice and beans. And I'm like, oh, which one is the butter? Which is the actual butter?
It never fails.
It's so funny because I think what's cool about cultural similarities is that they basically come from the same ideals. And it's you're going to save your money. You're going to save, why buy containers when we have containers and we just use the butter, it ran out, we're going to wash it and reuse it instead of buying extra containers.
Does your mom do that with the freezer bags, the Ziploc freezer bags?
I don't know. I don't think my mom did.
Depending on what's in it, mom will rinse it out, clean it, and let it dry, and she will use it again because it's sturdy.
What my grandmother does is oh my goodness, and I should send her this video.
I know. I was thinking that mom's gonna hate that I'm talking about.
Their ears are probably so my grandmother has the paper towels on a roll that's hanging, right? So like I used to use a napkin and just like throw it away, and she would stop me like, "Did you just wash your hands and use that napkin?" And I would be like, "Yeah," and she goes, "No, then why would you throw it away if your hands were clean? Let it dry."
Oh.
And then she would put the paper towel like on top so that it could dry, and she would reuse it. And literally would get so annoyed, like, why would you reuse a paper towel?
Oh, the other one that both our families do is you're washing the dishes, the dish soap is like on a few drops. And it bugs the shit out of me. But what bugs the shit out of me, yeah, like my dad or my mom will add water to those few drops and still get whatever they can out of it.
Literally.
And I hate it. I can't stand that.
I'm so
but I get where it's coming from.
Yeah, I don't do it here. Like I don't really do it personally unless it's like, okay, like I've let it kind of flipped over and I kind of used it and I could use some. But like refilling the whole thing with water so that you could use the last drop of like it's kind of not worth it.
Yeah.
But that's how I grew up. Like, esto todavía tiene, and they literally fill it up with water and use it for like the next few days.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's literally with everything. And I thought that was just a like Hispanic thing, and clearly it's not just Latinos that do that.
I don't know if Indians from India do that, but Indians from Fiji do that. At least in our house.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
And I'm sure I'll have some cousins messaging me saying, you know that happens in our house too.
Yes. It's so funny, like that. What else was something that...
so the other day Ashley comes home and she's telling me about her grandma telling her she's gonna catch a cold.
Oh my god!
She's walking barefoot outside and her chest
No, it wasn't barefoot. It was just the chest exposed.
And I was like, oh my god, my mom says the same thing. Like
literally, I was even making fun of my grandmother, and I recorded it and put it on my Instagram story because she was like, "Tápate el pecho, hace frío afuera, te va a coger, you're gonna start coughing." And I was like, "What did you just say?" And I had her say it again so I could record her because it's like, that is so not logical. Like you're gonna get sick through your chest because it's cold and you're not covered. And I was like, oh my god, Latin logic. But then when I told her, she's like, no, mom does the same thing.
And also going outside with wet hair.
Yeah.
At nighttime.
Yes.
Yeah. The cold air.
They say
yeah.
Literally. Oh my god, this is why I love doing this stuff and having these conversations because as different as we think we are, there's a lot of similarities. So many similarities. Yeah. Literally, like, Senisa, you're gonna get sick because it's cold air, and like, if I wash my hair,
cover your ears.
Yes, till this day, like, if I sleep over my grandmother's house and I take a shower and wash my hair, she's like, "You washed your hair before bed?"
Oh my god! Say yes. Make sure you dry your hair before you go to sleep.
Yes. Oh my god! And I'm like, what's the big deal? It's crazy. Walking barefoot around the house.
Oh, not around the house for us. You guys probably have tile, right?
Yeah. We have tile.
We have carpet, so it wasn't. Well, at least growing up, it was carpet.
Oh, okay.
But outside, because I was a
sense.
barefoot child, so like, yeah, the cement is cold.
Oh my god! Literally, I would walk around the house and outside barefoot, and my great-grandmother and grandmother would be like, "No, that is how the sickness comes in. It comes in through your feet and through your chest." So they would make me put chocolate.
Little do they know how many times I walked barefoot downtown Sacramento because my heels. I couldn't take my heels no more.
Once you were an adult,
yeah,
that would make them so sad.
Oh yeah.
And you were fine though. You survived. Totally you made it.
And there's worse things on the sidewalks.
Oh my god. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. What else? What are things that we do that really stick out? We have a lot of sayings and stuff too.
Yeah.
But what else? I feel like there's so much.
Just at least in my family, a lot of the Indian culture is that way too. It's the not camaraderie, but the love with certain sides of the family, like the togetherness, like you feel it, like the music's playing and everyone's dancing, and that's a similarity as well.
The music,
the drinking,
all of that. The family parties are so huge in my family. I mean, we still, when I go to Miami, it's like, oh, let's do a barbecue or whatever. It's like that whole unity is super important and never really truly dies. I think that
that's something that I think I want to make sure I continue.
Yes.
For whenever I decide to have children.
Yes, it's so important.
I want to make sure I continue that.
Yes, that, because it's so important, and I think that is, I remember being a kid and listening to certain songs, and now I'm an adult and listen to them, and it's like, wow, like this was not only from when I was a kid, but when my parents were kids, like they listened to this music, and they grew up on it, so it's like, I can't not pass that down to the generations to come, because I feel like they lose it. When I hear my little cousins and they don't even know like these songs that are like my childhood, I'm like, what do you mean? Like it's so meaningful to me. So I feel like there are certain things that I would definitely pass down, and certain things that I'm like, I'm not gonna tell my kids that they're gonna get sick if they walk around barefoot. Yeah. But I don't want their feet to be dirty either, so maybe maybe I will.
Oh, maybe that's why they would say
That's totally what it has to be. It has to come from that.
They don't want to clean your feet, so
they don't want you to walk around with dirty.
We're in on it now.
Yes, I get it. I see why.
We're on to you, elders, ancestors.
And you know what's funny is that I don't even think our parents knew why. They just passed it down.
Oh, totally. Because every time I would ask mom why she would, and this was in the past. This is like before I took like Ayurveda and stuff. So she would tell me to eat a certain thing because it was something. And I was the queen of questions. Like I would always need a logical explanation as to why, and she would just be like, because that's what we've done. Because that's what your grandma said. It works.
Yeah.
And
that's like Vicks.
Yeah. Oh,
that's
the other one,
right?
Yeah.
It's so funny. So we all know, all Hispanics know about Vaporu. We know that it's the cure to like a broken heart. It's the cure to a cold, a cure to a headache, a cure to literally like every single thing that you can think of. And I thought that was just a Hispanic thing, and then I told her about it, and she's like, no.
Oh, and it's not even Vicks with a V. It's Vicks. Go with the Vicks. With like a V.
Ponte Vicks.
Yeah,
literally.
with the Vicks.
Yes.
Or not even Advil. Advil. I need some Advil.
That's hilarious. Oh my god. Literally like those things to where did that start?
Yeah.
Like, where did it start that Vicks was the cure for literally everything?
Yeah.
Like, it's not. Sorry to break it to you all, but
God.
it is not the cure to everything. But I specifically remember, like, if I wasn't feeling well, that my great grandmother would like put some on my chest and like under my nose. Crazy. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
What else? I feel like.
You know, I think was great during childhood, especially being different cultures. Part of what we learned as far as like just playing outside, we learned from our parents because they used to do it in their countries. Totally. And so true. And I think that's a common similarity amongst different cultures too, because a lot of people came from poverty or just like island nations, and it's literally like, oh, there's a plot of grass, let's just go play there, outside, or like an empty street lot or something, and street lot? What the hell is a street lot?
And I'm like, I don't know what parking lot.
Yeah, or just an empty lot, I guess.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, it's so I grew up like that, playing outside and doing like like very hands-on things.
Yeah.
I didn't, even though it was like starting technology was starting. We didn't really like play video games. We played video games when we were older, but not. I very much played outside with like neighbors, and that's like what my like generations did. Like my grandmother did that. She in Puerto Rico, it's like you play outside. In Dominican Republic, you play outside, and you don't see a lot of that nowadays.
You learn from it. Like literally, I remember one time we were playing like just a little game of baseball in my grandparents' backyard, and it was with those like the plastic yellow wiffle ball bat, and the ball ended up going over the fence, and the neighbor wasn't there. So literally, all of a sudden, I see my uncles grab a newspaper and crumple it up into a ball, and then put tape around it, and then they made this makeshift ball.
Yes,
and I was just like, wow,
it's so
like,
simple.
and I remember it.
Yes,
and
that's the thing. Like, you didn't need toys.
A lot, you didn't need a lot.
I never grew up, as a like stingy kid. Like, no, I want this, because we had everything we needed. We literally would just play outside. I remember, oh my god, and Jayla and I, my little sister, always talk about this. I remember, which is so dangerous. Like, I would never ever let my kids do this. But I used to go in the backyard and get the machete and like chop the branches off the tree, just like hi yeah, like with a machete. Why in the world? That could have been so dangerous. And it's like, or we would, if it would rain, like we would get the shovel and like make a mess in the backyard, and we would obviously get in trouble because it's like mud now all over the backyard when the grass was all green and nice. But it was like, that's what we would do.
Yeah, you played in the dirt.
Fun. You played in the rain and in the dirt.
Me and my brother were joking about that one day because we were talking about like herbs and things like that, and he totally remembered this, and I had forgotten until he said it. We used to go pick these like weed type things that were on the side of the house, like by the fence, and we'd pick them and we'd take them to the front, and we literally would like cut them up. I don't know what we used to cut them. At this point, I don't remember what it was. And we would like pretend like we were putting it in a pot. We basically were like witches, little witches. Yeah. And I totally forgot until he brought it up while we were in Hawaii.
That's like, amazing. Yeah. That is, and that's the thing, like that imagination. I remember my mom also used to have like, cause you know how, so I don't know if your family does this, I'm pretty sure they do. But like we buy a big thing of rice and then we put it in like a big plastic container. Yeah. Okay.
You've seen that at my
house. I wasn't sure, I didn't remember. But literally we do that. We get the big thing of rice and then we just scoop it from the thing, right? And so my mom used to let me like scoop the rice and put it in like a little taza or in a bowl. And then she used to get me like maple syrup and sugar and like beans, a whole bunch of like random ingredients from the kitchen. And then she would be like, go cook. And I would just mix it, and it was disgusting. Like I remember we'd be just like, like obviously it's not real food, but she would let me like really feel as if I was cooking, and she would actually be cooking. But I was like entertained with the fake cooking. But for me, it was very much real. Like, wow, I put like a little bit of this, some ketchup, and it's no one is ever gonna eat that. But it was fun. It literally was like, put her there with the pots and pans. There was no toys. Like I had toys and dolls and stuff, but what I remember more is playing with like pots and pans and playing with like pretend things and imagination and going outside. Not like concrete, like beautiful toys. Like,
also, there wasn't something like your mom did that to keep you distracted, but also to keep you in her sight so that she could cook, right? Like as opposed to like nowadays, you see a lot of parents just putting the phone in front of the kid, and it's like
it drains them out. I don't agree with it, but I'm grateful for the fact that we had TVs. Like she could have put the TV on, put cartoons, but she never did. She put like things that I can play with, and that was so much more productive because I was in my head, I was like actually cooking, even though I wasn't, and so I was super entertained, and she was helping me, kind of like learn how to cook in a way because I was putting things together and winging it, and like, look, mommy, like I made this, and she would like praise me for it, and same with pots and pans. It's like you play the drums on the pots and pans. You're not like just watching TV and just like entertained and being glued to it. You're actually like creating something. And I think that I'm really grateful for that cultural similarity that we have. And I think it's cool for people to see that like, yes, we're different. Like there are some things that are not similar in our cultures. Of course. But I think it's cool to learn other cultures. Like just because you grew up in a certain culture doesn't mean that you can't understand others and like learn about them and be like, oh, that's pretty cool, because you could pass down things from other cultures that have nothing to do with you. Like there are things that I do now that originated from other cultures that I apply and would definitely like make my kids do. Like meditation, for example, that's not really something that I grew up learning from my culture. My mom taught me, but it wasn't a cultural thing. It was something that we like picked up. And so it's like, I'm going to pass that down to my kids because I know the benefits of it and I know how it's transformed my life. But I didn't grow up on the contrary. Like Catholics telling me to meditate is just not happening. So it's like, that's not an original cultural thing for the Dominicans and Puerto Ricans, but it's something that I am like bringing with me.
It can also be lost within the culture. Like, I mean, I grew up Hindu and Sikh, but my parents didn't teach me to meditate. Like I had to learn that on my own.
Exactly.
They knew certain rituals that they did, but which again, those are things that I questioned like everything under the sun about. But when it came to meditation, I found my own way. Like, it was something that spoke to me within me, and I just listened to that voice. So even then, like, there's things within the culture that gets lost, and we tend to find it again.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And we get to pick and choose. There are so many cultures. Even our cultures are like, they're similar, and I think because Fiji is island, right? So it's like, I'm from Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic, so they're both islands, and I think that there are a lot of similarities when you have a certain lifestyle and things that are passed down from, you know, kind of like those island lifestyle. Because even people that are from Hawaii have a lot of similar things too. So it's like, there are some countries and some cultures that are totally different from ours, but we'll still have like some similarities. Yeah. And some universal things, like there are things that are universal. So it's like, if you smile, you smile regardless of where you're from. Yeah. If you frown, you frown regardless of where you're from.
Laughing.
Laughter is universal.
Yes.
And so it's like, it's cool to see that we're different, and it's cool to learn other cultures and like what other people do, why they do it, because what we think is normal isn't necessarily truly normal. Yeah. It's just what has been passed down, and we can kind of pick and choose what we want to pass down and what we agree with and disagree with.
I literally was having that conversation with my friend the other day, because she was asking me how I got to a point where I found a balance within the American culture and my Indian culture. And literally what I told her is, in learning who I am, I was able to pull the things I liked from each culture and create my own life.
Yes, which is so important. I think that when we're too obsessed with our culture, which I think is a beautiful thing. I love culture. Like, I love my culture. There's nothing that I would change from how I was raised. And it doesn't mean I agree with everything, but I still am grateful for it, because
you are who you are because of it.
Totally. Yeah. And it was because of the culture that I love music. I love to dance. I just, like, literally sometimes still cry when I listen to, like, bachata, merengue. Like, I just love it. And although I agree with being proud of your culture, I don't think that it's like, oh, this is my culture and I'm not changing it. Yeah. I think that culture is what has been passed down and what has evolved. The culture that you practice now isn't the same culture that was practiced millennia ago. And so it's like, you have the right and ability to kind of tweak it and evolve and say, like, okay, like, I'm going to show my kids this and bring some of the things from my culture to my upbringing. I mean, to their upbringing, but that I'm going to make sure not to do that, or teach them this, and you get to create your own culture and pass that down. Yeah. And it can still be a culture. Like, it's not like you're totally neglecting your culture.
And even then, your kids are going to get to a certain age and want to create their own culture.
Yes. And that is, to me, that's what culture is. I feel like that's...
See, for me, like, so much of it was imposed on me, like, that's what bothered me. About it, because I wasn't able to be myself.
Culture has a way of doing that. Yeah. You know, because it's like, no,
it becomes tradition.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And so it's like, if you break out of that norm, then you're not part of the culture.
Exactly.
And I think that's why it's important to do videos like this, because it's like, well, you get to choose what you really believe in. Yeah. And when people are like, this is our culture, like, if you go to Puerto Rico and you try creating a new culture, they're gonna be like, what? No.
Yeah, exactly.
Not happening. Same with places like India, and same with Dominican Republic and many other countries. Yeah. Even the United States, like, you're not gonna come to the United States and create your own culture. United States, I think the reason it is the way it is because many people from other cultures come and create their own kind of way of living. So that's what's kind of cool about the United States. But at the end of the day, cultures are, for the most part, like, this is our culture. Yeah. Period. And I think that is a beautiful thing, but we have to understand that we don't have to do it. We can kind of practice what we want to practice and pass on what we want to pass on.
And everything becomes, I think when it becomes your lifestyle, it becomes your culture. Because think about, like, we live like a mind, body, soul culture.
Totally.
You know, that's its own, like, culture. Totally. And what made me think of it was Arion's, he changed his name to Tarot Culture, and it made so much sense how he broke it down, because he believed what he believed in encompassed things he was going through as well, and it's creating a new culture.
Yes. So, which I think is beautiful, because excuse me, like I said, I love my culture, I love what I've been raised as, but there are so many things that I'm changing.
Oh,
like
totally.
the eating habits,
Yes.
the eating patterns,
Yes.
like those things really messed with me for such a long time, and I had to kind of like create my own culture and create my own environment. And you know, like that to me is really important. When I'm gonna pass things on to my kids, I want to make sure, and not only to my kids but to like the younger generations, I want to make sure that the culture that I create is going to be a culture that offers balance, mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional balance, that's communicative and loving, and that also has the flavor and the kind of weird things that my culture taught me. I will not be curing everything with Vicks, but I will have one in my house.
She will be storing pots in the oven.
Yes, definitely. But I'll have a big enough oven. No, my house will be big enough, so I will have to do that. But there are certain things that, just for the fun of it, I probably would like do with my kids.
Oh, totally.
You know, like ponte Vicks. You know, oh, someone broke your heart. You know, like I'd probably do it just for fun, but I would teach them, you know, the things that I've learned along the way and create our own culture. And I know that, like you said, the new generations will create their own culture.
And by that time, who knows what's gonna be going down in this world? I feel like
only God knows.
I don't know who I was talking to the other day, but it was probably
me.
Oh yeah, we're gonna be hovering over the streets, like, and looking down at like, oh, I remember when that road used to go that way.
Yeah, because I was talking to my mom and she was saying like, wow, I remember when this was campo, when it was just dirt.
Yeah.
And now it's like a highway, and I'm like,
wow,
what am I gonna say? Like, I remember when this is highway, and now we're hovering over the I don't even know what's gonna happen. Like, who knows?
It's gonna be like the Jetsons.
I know, literally. I mean, my mom was saying how she remembers seeing in Epcot, you know, like Epcot in Disney World is like kind of the innovative, like what's to come kind of ride, the like big ball ride. And in the ride, they were showing people FaceTiming each other, you know, like, what it would be like to FaceTime each other. And she said she remembers going to this ride and being like, oh my God, imagine, like if you could FaceTime.
I used to think that, like, when speaking of the Jetsons, like, because on that they would do that, and it was a cartoon.
Exactly.
And I always wondered, like,
it's like fantasy at that point.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll ever see that, right? And then now we have.
And now it's like, oh yeah, FaceTime my mom today. It's not even like something that you're like
it's
astonished by. Yeah, no, it's just like, oh, the FaceTime call isn't going through.
Yeah.
You know, it's like frustrating. Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
it's frustrating if it doesn't go as fast as you want it to, right? But it's like, we literally like didn't have that, so it's like, what are we gonna have to come? Like the cultures that are going to be so.
It's gonna be interesting
different.
The next few decades.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah.
Okay.
This was a great video.
This was. Thank you for
watching and joining. We definitely are gonna have more to come soon.
Make sure to have your tea ready the next time we're here.
Yeah. We love you guys. Subscribe if you haven't already. Like, comment, share. Yeah. Bye.
And send suggestions.
Yes, let us know what
you want us to talk about.
Yeah, we have topics and ideas, but it's always great to get people's insight and see what they would want.
Yeah, we like interacting with our viewers.
Yes, and we like juicy topics. We like to talk about things that are like
honest.
Ooh, yes.
Truth.
Yes. So send it our way.
Yeah, and we will talk about it.
Yes.
We love you.